How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I go by the Mengineer. I make videos on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and happiness. Most of us know someone who either is or was in some form of credit card debt. Not knowing how to navigate getting or using your first credit card could be a mistake that takes years to undo. But most of us are never really taught how to navigate the credit card landscape. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over what I feel is the most important information for you to know for getting your first credit card. And just a quick disclaimer before we start off, I am not a financial expert. I am just some guy on YouTube giving his opinion. So of course, before you make any decisions, make sure that you do your research. Any decisions that you do make are your own. Now that we've got that covered, let's jump into the video. If you grew up anything like me, you were taught that you should stay away from credit cards as much as possible because you'll likely get into a large amount of debt that you won't really be able to get back out of. Now, usually this advice is coming from well-meaning parents or friends who either went through or are going through that exact situation. But in my opinion, I think a lot of people enter credit card debt because they were never really warned and properly taught how to use their credit cards. Getting the right card and using it correctly can offer a range of different benefits, such as improving your credit score, protecting you against fraud and device damage, as well as offering rewards like cashback and points. And just to prove that it works, by following the information that I'm about to tell you, I graduated from college with a credit score of 790. With that score, you can get some of the best deals from banks and lenders in terms of things for loans such as cars and homes. First off, it's important to understand that when you are buying stuff with your credit card, you are buying with credit or borrowed money. In other words, when you buy something with your credit card, the bank that owns your credit card is essentially paying for whatever item you're getting for you with the expectation that you will pay them back at the end of the month. If you fail to pay the bank back at the end of the month, they are able to apply an absolutely ridiculous interest rate, sometimes as high as 27% to whatever you owe them. So make sure that you stay on top of those payments and take care of them. So the biggest piece of advice that I can give to anyone getting their first card is do not use the card to pay for anything that you wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. A lot of people think that when they get their credit card, as long as they pay the minimum payment, they'll be fine, which in regards to your credit score is true. But let me paint you a picture. First off, let's say that you have credit card debt of about $1,000. Second, let's assume that you have an annual percentage rate or APR of 25%. This is the interest rate that the bank can apply to whatever you owe them every month. Now, let's say that the bank has calculated that your minimum payment is about $31 per month. If you were to only pay the minimum payment every month, as this calculator shows, it would take you over 10 years, and you'd be paying about $1,400 in interest, which is more than what you paid for the item in the first place. You'd effectively be doubling the price of whatever you bought, which is absolutely crazy. Now let's assume that you made a slight adjustment, and instead of paying that minimum payment every month, you paid just $19 more at $50 a month. With that slight adjustment, it would take you just over 2 years to pay back all the debt, and you'd pay about a quarter of what you would have paid in interest compared to the amount you would have paid if you were only making the minimum payments. Based on this example, you can see how easy it is to get into the cycle of credit card debt because most people actually have much more than just $1,000 of credit card debt. If you found that example to be helpful or you're enjoying the video so far, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out and it helps it to reach people that might not otherwise hear this information. Thank you in advance, and let's continue with the video. My personal recommendation is when you get your first credit card, pay it down in full every single month. Don't even worry about the minimum payments, just pay it all off. This prevents you from having to pay interest on anything that you owe and helps to keep you out of any further debt. Plus, it can really help in boosting your credit score because you never have to worry about missing a payment. Now, there are ways to utilize credit cards to build your wealth without paying them off fully every single month, but I really don't recommend that for beginners. If y'all might want to see a video covering that topic, please be sure to leave a comment down below. Now, if you're nervous about spending too much on a credit card, but you still need a way to build your credit score, you do have some options. There are credit cards out there that have low spending limits, like student credit cards. By getting these, you effectively set a cap on whatever you're spending. But please be aware, if you do a good job and you continuously pay off those payments every single month fully, credit card companies will raise the limit and they won't ask your permission. They'll say that it's a reward for being a good customer. So just be careful and be aware that you don't increase your spending when those limits are increased. The next thing that I think everyone should be aware of when getting their first card is the annual fee associated with the card. If this is your first card, this will likely be your oldest line of credit. A part of calculating your credit score is the average age of your accounts. So you'll want something that you can use for a while. But you'll likely want to avoid getting a card that has a large annual fee if the benefits really aren't that good and you can't get that much from it. Because in the end, let's say you cut back your usage on that card quite a bit, you're still going to have to pay that large annual fee. So then you're just sitting there paying this credit card company to have the card when you don't really use it in the first place. So you're either left with one of two options. Either close the card and temporarily hurt your credit score because you've lowered the average age of your accounts, or leave the account open and eat the cost of the annual charge. Either way is something to be aware of. And finally, one of the biggest things that I think needs to be covered when considering your first credit card are the potential rewards. In general, for your first card, I would just recommend getting a good general cashback card that gives you like 2% on most purchases that you make. This way, for the most part, you can use the card for things like groceries or gas and build your credit and also get a little bit of cash back in return. If you're a little bit more advanced and you're trying to consider other types of cards, you of course want to tailor the rewards to your lifestyle. For instance, if you're someone that really enjoys traveling, you'll want to get a card that's more centered around points or travel rewards than a cashback card. But now that y'all have an idea of what you should generally look out for when getting your first card, let's quickly cover the application process. Typically, this is a pretty easy process. Just go to the bank that you're considering's website and find the specific card you're looking for and click apply. You'll be asked to put in some basic info, so just go ahead and fill that out and click send. Now, despite what you've heard, not everyone can get a credit card. There is the chance that you might be denied if you have a poor credit score or if you don't have any credit. Now, you might be asking, well, how do I build credit if I can't get a credit card in the first place? And why am I being denied if I can't get a credit card? To overcome this, look for things like that student credit card that I mentioned earlier, or cards that have low spending limits associated with them. This will help a bank feel more comfortable with lending to you, and it will allow you to build your credit up. And finally, I just want to reiterate for all of y'all, do your research. Look into the banks that are associated with the cards that you're considering. There are a lot of banks out there that historically have a really poor customer experience. So it's good to know some of the things that you might need to look out for beforehand. And again, I'm going to reiterate, do not use your card to buy things that you would not be able to afford otherwise. Only use the card to buy things that you would otherwise be able to afford in cash, and then enjoy some of the added perks that you get along with it. This again is my recommendation for beginners. If you're more advanced, you can kind of move past that advice. But as I showed earlier in my example, by spending on things that are outside of your price range and that you can't really afford, things can get out of hand very easily and put you in debt for years to come. So please be careful. Well guys, that brings us to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. If you enjoyed the video or you found it to be helpful, again, please smash the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. Do you have any financial questions or advice of your own? If so, leave a comment down below. I reply to as many as I can. If you're interested in more of my videos where I cover financial topics, be sure to check out this video where I talk about my top tips to help save money fast. If you're more interested in some of my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is the Mengineer, signing off.